Hello, timeless sagas enthusiasts. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most striking and dramatic episodes in modern economic history, the hyperinflation of the Weimar Republic in Germany. So, buckle up and get ready for a roller coaster ride through the world of banknotes, currency, and financial crises. And who knows? Maybe we'll find some lessons that are still relevant today. Picture this, it's the early 1920s, and Germany is reeling from the aftermath of World War I. The country is burdened with a monstrous debt, imposed by the Treaty of Versailles, which sought to punish the Central Powers for their role in instigating the war. The German government, like any sensible debtor, wants to find a way to pay off these obligations without completely crippling its economy. But the solution they choose is, well, less than ideal. Enter hyperinflation. This phenomenon occurs when a country's currency loses its value so rapidly that prices skyrocket at an alarming rate, sometimes on a daily basis. The Weimar Republic, which was Germany's government between 1919 and 1933, managed to create one of the most infamous instances of hyperinflation in history. So much so, that the image of a wheelbarrow full of worthless banknotes became synonymous with German society during this period. But how did this happen? How did the government's attempt to solve its financial problems end up in such an economic disaster? Let's start at the beginning. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, had several provisions that directly impacted Germany's economy. One of these was the demand for reparations payments, a sum of 132 billion gold marks, equivalent to around $33 billion at the time. Now, that's a hefty bill to foot, even for a country as industrially powerful as Germany. To make matters worse, the treaty also restricted Germany's ability to produce goods for export, essentially cutting off one of their primary sources of income. And as if that wasn't enough, the loss of territory following the war further weakened the German economy. Facing this daunting financial situation, the Weimar Republic decided to take a rather unorthodox approach to paying off its debts. Instead of raising taxes, which would have been massively unpopular, or cutting government spending, which would have slowed the economy even further, they opted to print more money. A lot more money. Now, for those of you familiar with basic economics, you're probably already seeing the red flags here. Printing money to pay off debts might seem like an easy way out, but it can lead to some pretty disastrous consequences. The primary issue is that when you increase the supply of money, without a corresponding increase in the supply of goods and services, you create inflation. And that's exactly what happened in Weimar Germany. As the government printed more and more banknotes, the value of the German mark began to plummet. Prices started to rise as people realized that their money was losing its purchasing power, and they scrambled to buy goods before they became even more expensive. This, in turn, led to a vicious cycle. As prices rose, people demanded higher wages to keep up with the cost of living. Businesses, struggling to cope with these higher wages, increased the prices of their products even further. And the government, still trying to pay off its debts, printed even more money. The end result was a downward spiral of inflation that quickly spiraled into hyperinflation. At its peak, the hyperinflation in Weimar Germany was so extreme that prices were doubling every few days. People were literally using wheelbarrows full of cash to buy everyday items like bread and milk. In one famous example, a man left a wheelbarrow full of money outside a store while he went in to buy some groceries. When he returned, he found that someone had dumped out the money and stolen the wheelbarrow. The impact of this hyperinflation on German society was profound. People's savings were wiped out, pensions became worthless, and many businesses went bankrupt. The middle class, in particular, bore the brunt of the financial pain, as their hard-earned wealth evaporated almost overnight. But not everyone suffered equally. In fact, some people even managed to profit from the chaos. Those who had debts found that they could pay them off with ease, as the money they owed had become practically worthless. And speculators, who understood the dynamics of the situation, could make a killing by buying up assets like real estate and stocks at rock-bottom prices, only to sell them later when the economy stabilized. There's an old saying that goes, all good things must come to an end, and the hyperinflation in Weimar Germany was no exception. In 1923, the government introduced a new currency, the Rentenmark, which was backed by real estate and fixed to the value of gold. This move helped to restore confidence in the German currency and brought an end to the hyperinflation crisis. But the damage was already done. The economic turmoil and social unrest caused by the hyperinflation played a significant role in the rise of extremist political movements, including the Nazis. It's a grim reminder that when it comes to economics, even the best intentions can sometimes have catastrophic consequences. So, what can we learn from this episode of history? Well, for one, it's a cautionary tale about the dangers of trying to solve complex financial problems with simplistic solutions. Printing money might seem like an easy way to pay off debts, but as we've seen, it can lead to disastrous consequences in the long run. More broadly, the story of Weimar Germany's hyperinflation serves as a reminder of the importance of economic stability in maintaining social order. When people's livelihoods are threatened and their sense of security is undermined, it can create a breeding ground for radical ideologies and extremist movements. And while we might not be facing the same level of financial crisis today, it's worth remembering that economic turmoil can still have far-reaching and unpredictable effects on society. So, next time you're tempted to dismiss the study of economics as boring or irrelevant, just remember the story of Weimar Germany and its wheelbarrows full of cash. That's it for today's episode of Timeless Sagas. If you enjoyed our journey through the world of hyperinflation and its consequences, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories from history. And don't forget to leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts on this incredible moment in time. Until next time, keep exploring the countless sagas that make our history so timeless.